Why do Japanese people live longer than most of the world? Japan consistently ranks among the countries with the highest life expectancy. But this is not just about genetics. It is not just about healthcare. It is about lifestyle. Across Japan, especially in places like Okinawa, we see patterns of living that are calm, structured, and deeply rooted in daily habits. In this video, we are not looking for magic. We are looking for simple, repeatable behaviors. What do they eat? How do they move? How do they manage stress? How do they protect their brains and heart as they age? And most consistently, what can we learn from them? This is not about copying a culture. It is about understanding principles, because longevity is rarely an accident. It is usually a lifestyle. Today we are going to explore a very simple question. Why do Japanese people live longer than many other populations? This is not based on opinion. It comes from the Japanese Public Health Center-based study, a very large study involving over 80,000 adults, followed for nearly 20 years. It was published in JAMA, one of the world's leading medical journals. So what we are discussing today is serious, long-term scientific research, not a short-term trend. And what the researchers looked at was something very practical, everyday lifestyle, habits. This talk was compiled by Shimazu Yumi, Dr. Siva Navaratnam, and ChatGPT, our educational partner. Next we come to the big question. Is Japanese longevity simple genetics? Or is it something else? For many years, people assume that long life in Japan must be inherited. Perhaps they were just born different. But when researchers began studying Japanese communities, especially Okinawa, they noticed something interesting. When Japanese people move to other countries and adopt Western lifestyles, their rates of heart disease, diabetes, and obesity begin to rise. That tells us something important. Genes do not change in one generation, but habits do. So perhaps the real difference is not in DNA. It is in daily behavior. The way people eat, the way they move, the way they manage stress, the way they stay socially connected. Longevity may not be an accident of birth. It may be the result of repeated daily choices. What habits were studied? So what exactly did the researchers do? They did not study anything exotic. They looked at very simple everyday habits. First, not smoking. Smoking remains one of the strongest predictors of early mortality worldwide. Second, moderate alcohol intake. Not excess, not abstinence necessary, but moderation. Third, maintaining a healthy body weight. Not extreme dieting, simply avoiding long-term obesity. Fourth, regular physical activity. Not intense gym workouts, just consistent movement. And finally, a balanced diet, real food, reasonable portions, daily consistency. When researchers combined these habits, they found something remarkable. People who followed most of them lived significantly longer, sometimes by more than a decade. There was no magic, just pattern. So, what was the result? The researchers looked at people who consistently followed these healthy habits. They found something powerful. These individuals had almost half the risk of early death compared to those who did not. Not 5% lower. No, not 10% lower. About 40 to 50% lower risk. This is a massive difference in public health terms. And remember, these were not extreme interventions. No special supplements, no miracle diets, no complicated programs. Just consistent, everyday behaviors. Small habits, repeated daily over years. This is what changes life expectancy. So, what does all this mean for us? It means something very simple. Small daily habits matter. Longevity is not usually decided by one dramatic event. It is shaped by repeated ordinary choices. It also means that this is not just genetics. Yes, genes play a role, but they are not the full story. Lifestyle can either switch risk on or help to reduce it. And perhaps most importantly, lifestyle changes save lives. Not through extreme measures, but through consistency. The food we eat, the way we move, the way we rest, the way we connect with others. These are habits within our control, and that is encouraging. For those interested in the science behind this, these findings came from the Japanese Public Health Center study. This was not a small trial. It followed more than 80,000 Japanese adults, and they tracked for over 20 years. That is important. Long-term studies help us understand patterns over decades, not just short-term changes. The results are published in JAMA, one of the world's leading medical journals, so this is not speculation. It is a large-scale, long-term, peer-reviewed research. Thank you for watching.